Previously on Rapunzel and Flynn / Eugene. Gothel tries to make her feel bad about her image again, but that's not going to work anymore now that she's had those past few talks with Eugene. Gothel expected Rapunzel to return to the tower with her because she demanded it. But Rapunzel became alert to the concept of slavery, and she learned to refuse. On this historic day, which is commemorated by my fandom and fully documented in thousands of diaries, Rapunzel spoke a word that had been spoken to her time without number by Gothel. She said, no.
No. Oh. I see how it is. Rapunzel knows best.
You're darn right she does.
Rapunzel's so mature now.
You're darn right she is.
Such a clever grown-up miss.
You're darn right.
Where are we going?
Well, best day of your life? I figure you should have a decent seat.
By that he means the perfect place to watch the floating lanterns, which will set up their legendary song. But that's a story for another video. Eugene rows the boat out to a decent place to watch the floating lanterns. And it is in this moment before the lanterns are lit that Eugene soothes her nerves with something that is both a romantic moment for Rapunzel and a pretty good message for everyone watching.
I've been looking out a window for 18 years, dreaming about what I might feel like when those lights rise in the sky. What if it's not everything I dreamed it would be? And what if it is? What do I do then?
Well, that's the good part, I guess. You get to go find a new dream.
The king and queen didn't speak until Tangled the series, but they didn't need dialogue for this quiet moment because their expressions and body language tells you the whole story of their pain. Every year, they've sent up their lanterns on the birthday of their long-lost daughter, and the years have not soothed their pain, for every year is another year that they didn't spend with her. They go outside to release the first lantern, prompting others to light theirs. They arrange this beautifully with the crowds of people in different places lighting their lanterns after seeing someone ahead of them do so, creating a flow that the camera perfectly keeps track of. This next small moment is one that I hadn't thought about until recently, but does speak to what kind of headspace Eugene is in, at least in this moment. He holds out flowers for Rapunzel to put in the water. Notice that he doesn't place any flowers in the water himself. He only gives them to Rapunzel so she can. It makes me think of how Eugene has been doing things to make her happy all day, and when he's participated in festivities, it's either been to make it more fun for her or to be closer to her. Eugene had become too cynical and jaded to enjoy the little things and the frilly festivities. But all these things Rapunzel sees with fresh eyes and appreciates them all. It's almost like Eugene is living through her, making her joy his joy, so he can experience the world he made the mistake of going numb to. Rapunzel finally sees the floating lanterns fill the sky, and the beauty of the spectacle does not disappoint. Thousands of golden lights dance freely and yet also gracefully and elegantly. And thanks to their placement on the boat, the lanterns are also seen in the water's reflection, making the sight of them nearly inescapable. Side note, I went into these videos thinking that the floating lanterns were something that the filmmakers made up and could only be done in animation because I assumed it was far too dangerous and devastating to the environment. But apparently this whole floating lanterns thing has a long history in real life, and I don't know how that didn't lay waste to entire civilizations. Out of all those paper lanterns containing fire and free to go wherever the uncaring wind took them, did none of them crash into a roof and set the house on fire? It turns out Eugene brought a few lanterns so they can participate. Where he was hiding them, I don't know. They don't look like they've been folded up or anything. And Rapunzel decides that now is the time to give him the satchel with the crown.
I have something for you, too. I should have given it to you before, but I was just scared.
You should have given him the crown that he stole? You know what? This scene is above criticism. Go on.
And the thing is, I'm not scared anymore. You know what I mean?
I'm starting to.
As you can see, they've earned each other's trust to the point of stark contrast to their prior behavior. Rapunzel didn't even want him to know she had the crown on her person until now, and Eugene doesn't even want the crown, which used to be his whole motivation, to distract from this moment with her. I love how the song starts with them singing in their inner monologue, one after the other, and then transitions into them singing together out loud. The short version of the lyrics is they look back on their lives realizing it hasn't amounted to much, and that they've been blind to how bad their situations were. Rapunzel regrets spending so much time in her tower, Eugene regrets being a thief, and they see that their real destiny is with each other. The floating lanterns were supposed to be the whole point of their adventure, but once they start singing out loud, they can't take their eyes off each other despite the dazzling light show all around them. And this all came with great in-universe timing, because Rapunzel just turned 18. Maybe their meeting truly was fate, destiny, a horse, the hand of the author, and God's plan. When the song ends, they're about to kiss, but then Eugene notices the Stabbingtons standing on shore holding a lantern with a green flame just to be extra menacing. Yeah, I know, normally I hate the trope of something interrupting the characters when they're supposed to kiss too. But this is one of the very, 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 very few instances where it's executed well. Normally, it's a forced and cheap excuse to extend the will they won't they nonsense with something that should be inconsequential and has no business postponing things. A typical example would be two characters who are already in love at the home base, about to kiss, when all of a sudden a mutual friend walks in, ending the romantic atmosphere. And then the couple just pretend that moment didn't happen until the end of the story. In said typical examples, the interruption has no in-universe reason for throwing a wrench into the gears. The couple should just put a pin in that kiss and pick up where they left off later. Why on earth would they cancel a romantic relationship with someone they're in love with just because someone harmlessly entered the room, or even more ridiculously, because the phone rang? Yes, I have seen that happen. It signals to the audience that these characters aren't going to naturally make any progress until the writer says so, and by that I mean right before the end of the story. The difference in Tangled's case is, firstly, the presence of the Stabbingtons is an actual matter of emergency that has an actual reason to grab Eugene's attention. Secondly, it wasn't just the broken moments that postpones things. In fact, Eugene was planning to pick up where they left off as soon as possible, and would have if he could have. And thirdly, the film had set this scene up and does something with it going forward, so it's not a random isolated moment that's ignored later. To all writers out there, unless your kiss interruptions are as airtight as this one, don't do it. Eugene pulls the boat over, grabs the crown, and tells Rapunzel that there's something he needs to take care of.
Okay.
The heart-gripping thing is, he's not lying, but he's walking off right after getting the crown, and Gothel told Rapunzel that Eugene would leave her as soon as he had the crown. Eugene finds one of the Stabbingtons and throws him the crown, hoping that they will leave him and Rapunzel alone.
Anyhow, just wanted to say, I shouldn't have split. The crown is all yours.
I love how that shows how his priorities have changed, and he doesn't even want the stolen crown anymore. However, the Stabbingtons want Rapunzel instead. They knock him out, tie him to a boat, and send him to the guards to be arrested. Effectively, they trick Rapunzel into thinking Eugene ran off with the crown just like Gothel said he would.
Eugene!
They try to grab Rapunzel, but Gothel knocks them out, having apparently been playing them the whole time. Gothel had been setting things up to make Eugene look bad and herself look good to convince Rapunzel to return to the tower, but not before one last hurt look at the man she's been led to believe has betrayed her. The love they had was real, but how can she trust herself to know it's real? With Eugene no longer held in her mind as the light she's always needed, she can only lean back on what Gothel told her, and so she goes with her. Eugene wakes up just before the guards nab him. As we would come to expect from them, they probably would have killed him instantly if they could sell to the populace the idea that it was necessary to do so while he was tied up. Since they can't claim that he was getting away or that he would have attacked them, the guards resort to Plan B. You may remember that Plan A is kill him and Plan B is lock him up, not give him a trial, and then kill him. Thankfully, Maximus sees him getting taken away, which will pay off in a minute. Before I finish talking about the romance in Tangled, I have a little something I'd like to show you. Almost a year ago, I released a review of a book called Bravely. I still stand by my recommending the book itself, but my speaking in that video was pretty bad. I didn't edit enough of the pauses out, and my voice sounded hoarse for some reason. But that video did have something in it to salvage. Back when I made that video, I was not doing so well emotionally. I'm pretty sure I wasn't medicated back then, and I kind of poured that misery into an edit called Why I Relate to Disney Princesses Even Though I'm a Man. I decided to just throw it into the Bravely video because I didn't want to just release an edit of just movie footage as a standalone video. So that portion has given me some hesitation to unlist that Bravely video. But now I've decided to put that edit into this better video. Before you watch this, just remember that I made it a long time ago, so don't feel bad for me as I am now. Anyway, M.V.P.Knight presents Why I Relate to Disney Princesses Even Though I'm a Man.
And I'll keep wondering, and wondering, and wondering, and wondering, when will my life begin? All my life has been a series of doors in my face.
No, I can't. I don't know how.
We'll stand on the side as you shine. I'm not fine. I'm not fine. Oh, I'm such a fool. I can't be free.
I can't believe I did this! I can't believe I did this.
I am afraid of what I'm risking. What is wrong with me? Keep my feelings to myself. They're better left unspoken. Oh, please, you'll only make it worse. Don't panic. There's so much fear. Can't keep down the unspoken, invisible pain. Always waiting on a miracle, a miracle.
I am a despicable human being.
Maybe what I really wanted was to prove I could do things right. So when I looked in the mirror, I'd see someone worthwhile. But I was wrong. I see nothing.
I thought I was good, but I'm not even okay.
I've been patient and steadfast and steady. Bless me now as you blessed us all those years ago. Am I too late for a miracle?
Hey, Sunshine. I couldn't help but notice you're kind of doing that thing.
That thing?
You know, the thing where you act like everything's peachy when clearly it's what Cass did.
Yeah, that was bad. Anyway, moving on.
That's a C, dear.
I've seen dark before, but not like this. This is cold. This is empty. This is numb.
I've always dreamed that my life could be like a fairy tale. Was it nothing more than a dream?
I gave you the special since you're the only Madrigal kid with no gift. I call it the not special since, you have no gift.
Thanks.
If I was you, I'll be really sad.
I am not.
What? I said help me! And wrecking my boat? Not coming!
They get away with murder. I can never get away with anything.
Time to get ready.
Of course. Ready for what?
Well, Eric, it appears that I was mistaken.
We wish to be married as soon as possible.
Oh, yes, of course, Eric, but...
And hurt and disappointed. And I miss you, and I'm angry at myself for missing you. But more than anything, I'm just so sad.
Time, you know?
This afternoon, Grimsby. The wedding ship departs at sunset.
Oh, very well, Eric. As you wish.
I don't even know what love is.
How would I even approach Namari after all that's happened?
I wish it could be like this all the time.
Me too. But it can't.
Well, why not?
It just can't.
I could say it never happened, but then I'd live my life with a broken heart.
But also, on a more positive note,
Just do the next right thing. Take a step. Chase the wind and touch the sky. Touch the sky. So I trust my heart. What else can I do? I can't live in dreams if my dreams are to come true.
You're the one that doesn't care. You're the one breaking our home. Don't you ever! The miracle is dying because of you.
And may my dreams come true. Amen.
I see me. All of me.
There's a better life that's waiting. Past the mountains I must climb.
It's okay, you can just unfreeze it. No, I can't. I don't know how.
I knew you could do it.
now back to the movie. Rapunzel returns to the tower with Gothel and she takes out the flowers that made her hair so pretty and manageable.
There. It never happened.
Yes, it did happen. It did happen. It happened and it was beautiful. Right before leaving Rapunzel to her misery, Gothel tells her again about her warped illusion of the outside world. But this time you can almost get the feeling that she means it, as if someone hurt her long ago to make her think so ill of humanity.
I tried to warn you what was out there. The world is dark and selfish and cruel. If it finds even the slightest ray of sunshine, it destroys it.
Thankfully, this is just a small, interesting detail that doesn't overstay its welcome, because Gothel could not have been sold as a sympathetic villain. Rapunzel wallows in sadness, having lost her hopes, her love, for all intents and purposes, her life. She looks up at the ceiling in a state of depression, and then it kind of gets stupid. Look, I love Tangled, but this part is simply dumb. Just watch this. What is that? You mean to tell me that seeing her mobile as a baby stuck in her subconscious so hard that she unknowingly perfectly replicated it dozens of times in her paintings, and that realizing that gives her vivid flashbacks of her days as a newborn? Just for a second, let's pretend that I'm idiotic enough to believe that's possible. In that case, this is still stupid because it wasn't set up to be a mind-blowing detail that had been hiding in plain sight. Good luck finding those symbol outlines earlier in the film. I tried to find them. All I could come up with was a small portion of this one.
And I'll reread the books, and I'll reread the books.
In fact, most of the symbols are on this ceiling, which was never shown before this scene. And most of those symbols are fake. They weren't there before she highlighted them. And why does the kingdom's symbol popping up in her memories convince her that she's the princess? Surely there have been many babies who have seen the kingdom's symbol. And now that I am done pretending that I'm idiotic to believe that this is possible, now I would like to point out that there were many other ways in which she could have figured out that she was the lost princess. Ways that would have made a lot more sense. Rapunzel is holding a flag that Eugene bought her during the festival. That flag could have had the story of the lost princess on the other side, and that would have given Rapunzel the last pieces of the puzzle she needed. Or she could have just taken a moment to look back on things and realize the timing matches up for her to be the lost princess. Or, if we're keeping the baffling choices made up until this point, she could have thought it was funny how she shares the same name and date of birth as a lost princess. Or she could have just figured out that Gothel was lying based off of the convenience of her showing up at the right moment and her reasons to believe Eugene over Gothel. Then she could have figured out that she was a lost princess later, but no. This insanity about subconscious symbols creating baby flashbacks is what we're going with. And people say Frozen has brain-breaking plot holes. So Rapunzel rejects her fake mother, telling her off and vowing that she'll get no more of her magic.
I am the lost princess, aren't I?
Rapunzel!
I've spent my entire life hiding from people who would use me for my power.
Rapunzel!
When I should have been hiding from you. No! You were wrong about the world. And you were wrong about me.
You want me to be the bad guy? Fine.
Meanwhile, on his way to the gallows, Eugene finds the Stabbingtons, who were arrested after all, and interrogates one of them about Rapunzel, quickly figuring out that Gothel has her. It would be logical to assume that the Stabbingtons were put to death afterwards, but they're still alive in Tangled the series because, I don't know, animated series status quo is kicked in just in time, I guess. Eugene can't get the guards to let him go, but he doesn't have to, because Maximus brought the reformed ruffians to bust him out for Rapunzel's sake.
You have 3 seconds. 1, 2.
How Maximus communicated the situation to them is either yet another plot hole that would have been torn apart if it happened in Frozen, or a game of charades that it would have been fun to actually see. It might not top the climax of Sleeping Beauty, but it is fun and endearing that the reformed ruffians did all this for the woman that encouraged them to find their humanity. I love seeing heroes get help from the rallied horde of people they've helped. It's so uplifting, and it doesn't happen enough. Eugene makes peace with Maximus, escapes the guards, and makes his way to Gothel's tower.
Rapunzel, let down your hair!
Ha, he said the thing. The hair is let down, but it turns out to be thrown by Gothel while Rapunzel was tied up. How unsporting. Gothel tries to take Rapunzel away and... Hold on. How is she stronger than Rapunzel? We've established that Rapunzel is as strong as a horse, if not stronger, and the only possible explanation is the power of Disney princess magic. But now I'm seeing Gothel pull her back despite her desperate struggling? Maybe the healing incantation really does give people super strength, like Eugene wanted it to.
Is there any chance that I'm gonna get super strength in my hand? Because I'm not gonna lie, that would be stupendous.
Rapunzel finally gets her gag off and makes a bargain with Gothel.
For every minute of the rest of my life, I will fight. I will never stop trying to get away from you. But if you let me save him, I will go with you.
No, Rapunzel.
No, Rapunzel. I only need medical attention when my hand gets cut.
I'll never try to escape. Just let me heal him, and you and I will be together. Forever, I promise. And when I promise something, I never, ever break that promise.
Liking the sound of that deal, Gothel chains Eugene up so he won't follow them. Rapunzel comes in and tells him he'll be alright.
No, Rapunzel.
I promise you have to trust me.
No.
Come on, just breathe.
I can't let you do this.
And I can't let you die.
But if you do this, then you will die.
I love how each of them are willing to die for the other person. I love how the premise of Rapunzel going with Gothel is treated as death, and how she's willing to give up her life for him. We've seen so many examples in fiction of one person in the relationship being willing to die for the other, while that other person never proves they would do the same. But here we have equality of willingness, and they're willing to die for someone worth dying for. And before you ask, no, I am not giving this the same criticism I gave Beauty and the Beast. Being sad and lonely, the Beast doesn't fight back, thinking that he has nothing to live for. Okay. Problem is, he doesn't realize that his life has value until Belle comes back.
Belle.
No! Gaston! No!
It would have been much more uplifting if the turning point was the Beast looking back at all the progress he's made as a person and found the will to live off of his own merits. Instead, the film just told the audience that their lives aren't worth living if their crush doesn't feel the same way. Your girl left you? I guess you better let yourself die. Oh wait, she came back. Never mind, your life has meaning again. Where's the uplifting message of even if you strike out this time, you're still going to be okay? Yet again, we can compare this film to Frozen, with Frozen being the better example. Elsa is told that she is loved and her life has value. Beast is told that his life has value because he is loved. In Beauty and the Beast was about to let Gaston kill him, not because it would have benefited Belle, but because he felt like his life had no value without Belle. We never see Eugene and Rapunzel giving up their life for any reason smaller than to save the other's life. They never directly implied that they couldn't have gone on without the other. If nothing else, Rapunzel would have had her royal status, and Eugene would have had a rescue mission to carry out for the reformed ruffians, who would still be in trouble with the guards. Unable to convince Rapunzel not to heal him, Eugene takes away her ability to do so.
Eugene.
No! No! Eugene, what have you done? Could you not reach any lower? That haircut is hideous. I know I'm interrupting the dramatic climax, but looking at Rapunzel's hair makes me sad. Before you say it, I know that there are plenty of short hairstyles that look good on women, but this is not one of them. Her tufts of hair are ragged and bent awkwardly. It just doesn't look good. And besides the aesthetics, let's talk about Eugene effectively depowering Rapunzel. Eugene was certainly justified in doing it because it was the only way to save her, and without her hair, she won't be targeted by people who want it for themselves. In fact, in Tangled the series, when Rapunzel gets her hair back, she tries to get rid of it at first. But there's an argument to be made that the film shouldn't have manufactured a situation in which he was justified in depowering her. It's kind of sad that she's lost her magic hair that she's found so many uses for. Without the magic to keep her young, Gothel ages rapidly, and thus begins the last villain death in a Disney princess movie. Arguably the most iconic scene of a Disney villain is their death. And yet these deaths have become a thing of the past. Not limited to princess films, the last Disney villain death was in Wreck-It Ralph. After that, everyone went to prison. Relish this death of Gothel while it lasts. Gothel falls out the window and decays into oblivion as the heavens shine brightest upon glorious justice. By the time her cloak reaches the earth, all that remains of her is dust. But we must now turn from a death most joyous to a death most fake. Without Rapunzel's magic, Eugene is fading fast. I would just skip to the part where he recovers, since you all know there's no way he's going to stay dead. Even if the film did start with Eugene saying, "This is the story of how I died."
This is the story of how I died.
Sure, Flynn, but I have two things to point out first. It has become common for every other animated Disney film to have a fake-out death, but Eugene was one of the first in this trend, so we weren't as well-trained to know this is fake. Looking back on it now, it's so obvious that he'll be fine, just like Baymax, Ralph, Judy, Casita, Maui's Hook, and everyone in Raya and the Last Dragon. But I can't remember if I thought he might be gone when I watched this for the first time as a kid. The other thing I want to spotlight is the follow-through of Eugene's advice to find a new dream.
You were my new dream.
And you were mine.
Aww. If you don't already know, in the fairy tale, at least one version of the fairy tale, Rapunzel heals her love with a teardrop, and that's exactly what this Rapunzel does now that she doesn't have her hair to channel her magic through. If nothing else, this fake death at least provides a nice light show.
Rapunzel?
Eugene.
Did I ever tell you I've got a thing for brunettes?
Did I ever tell you that I have a thing for every hair color except for brunette? I don't even like being a brunette, but at least they're both alive and not enslaved. And we do get a nice kiss out of it. You may recall that in part 1 of Rapunzel and Flynn / Eugene, I pitched what would have made a better twisted tale than what once was mine. That story I came up with was, what if Rapunzel was never kidnapped? But there are so many other what ifs that would have been better than what Liz Broswell came up with. I'm not going to do the whole story pitch the way I did last time, but there was a better twisted tale to be had with the question, what if Gothel got away with Rapunzel? They could have had that version start with Eugene getting stabbed and then losing consciousness before he can stop Rapunzel from healing him. And then him and Pascal could have rallied the reformed ruffians to look for Gothel and Rapunzel. And Rapunzel could have had a few in retrospect conversations with Gothel about her upbringing with no more lies this time. And then Eugene could have taken very brutal revenge on Gothel when he finds her. That would have been nice. But anyway, back to the movie. Rapunzel and Eugene go to the castle, and once again, I must rant about a gaping plot hole I hate in a movie I love. Because this part of the ending is so stupid. This has bothered me since the first time I watched the movie as a child. Hey Mom, hey Dad, I know I came here with the wanted thief whose death has been the kingdom's top priority for the past few days, but you can totally trust me when I say that I'm the daughter who, last time you checked, had magic blonde and possibly long hair. So, you want to give me the kingdom now, or after I turn 21 and that sequel series is wrapping up? She has no proof that she's who she says she is, keeps, as far as they're concerned, the worst company possible, and lacks the most important visual characteristic. And yet they instantly believe that it's her? How? Why? Were there not legions of imposters claiming to be the long-lost princess, as has happened with lost princesses in real life? Sure, there's some resemblance, but how many girls could have been close enough to pass? And don't tell me it's because her parents know their child when they see her, because even this guard, who doesn't look old enough to have been working at the castle when Rapunzel was a baby, is sure she's the one because he sees the resemblance too somehow? I guess he could have seen the paintings, but if it's that easy to recognize the lost princess based off of her resemblance to the paintings alone, then why were there not hundreds of people recognizing her when she was interacting with hundreds of people in the festival, back when she had her magic long blonde hair? Did no one think it was weird? Did no one think about how they've only known of one person with hair like that before? Instead, she's only recognized after she's lost it? This is madness. Okay, hold on. The movie did not clarify this, but it is possible that the guards who saw her back at the dam could have vouched for the fact that she used to have her long hair. But if that's what happened, they could have spelt that out a little better. Based off of what we see, it just makes more sense for them to not believe it's her. That's another thing that would have made a better twisted tale. What if Rapunzel's parents didn't believe it was her? They could have had Rapunzel be heartbroken to not have her biological parents back after losing her fake mother, and then she could have escaped with Eugene, and then they could have left to find a life elsewhere because Eugene can't get rid of his wanted thief reputation. And then he could have had Eugene struggle to find work that's not thievery. And they really could have played with the idea of Rapunzel going straight from Gothel being the only person in her life to Eugene being the only person in her life, and she could have been paranoid about Eugene being as bad and manipulative as Gothel, because her problem with Gothel was she didn't have any other input to tell her how crazy Gothel was. So if she's alone with Eugene, then for all she knows, he could be lying to her the same way. That could have been interesting. Also, they could have done what if Varian, Cassandra, and Lance from Tangled the series were in Tangled the movie. Well, the story of Tangled the movie, you know what I mean. But enough twisted tail pitches. Take it away, Eugene.
Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for their lost princess had returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember most of it.
Wait. What the?
Dreams came true all over the place.
Wait. The poor man has a ball and chain on his leg. But rest assured that this scene is a wake-up call that inspires an end to such evil ways. Unless I'm forgetting something, in Tangled the series, the accordion player isn't there anymore, and I don't think they kill anyone else. Oh, I knew I was forgetting something. This was not planned from the start. I honestly didn't remember the accordion player still in chains at the end of the movie. Or him still being chained up in an episode of Tangled the series. He's not still at the Snuggly Duckling, but Hook Hand left Corona to go on tour, and apparently he took the accordion player with him. Can I just headcanon that Rapunzel rescued the poor man later off screen?
And this guy, well, he eventually found true love.
That one actually does hold up in Tangled the series. As much as it needs to, I mean. I don't remember his girlfriend showing up, but it's clarified that they're still together. What, did you think that his love would be needlessly thrown away into a disappointing tragedy, delegitimizing the promises that this happy ending made? What do you think this is, Star Wars?
As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise.
Yeah, I guess. Seems happy enough.
She was a princess worth waiting for. Beloved by all.
Loved by all? That sounds a little Mary Sue-ish. Thankfully, Tangled the series fixed that. There's an episode all about Rapunzel accepting the fact that not everyone is going to like her.
And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again, stopped thieving, and basically turned it all around.
Nice to finally have that set in stone. They didn't really talk about what his future would look like until this moment. I'm assuming that the reason Rapunzel and Eugene never talked about what their lives would look like going forward until after Rapunzel figured out she was a lost princess was it would seem like a waste of time. What I mean is, why should they have dedicated a scene to them making plans for their future when their future was going to be decided by plot points that they weren't aware of yet anyway? Their future is for Rapunzel to be the princess and Eugene to be the princess's boyfriend. So a conversation about opening up a flower shop or whatever would have been pointless.
Did Rapunzel and I ever get married? Well, I'm pleased to tell you that after years and years of asking and asking and asking, I finally said yes.
Eugene.
All right. I asked her.
Without spoiling anything, he doesn't ask that many times, but the series did throw in a few reasons for them to not get married until later, since they had to work with that line.
And we're living happily ever after.
They're narrating this after Tangled the series happened, so happily ever after is accurate. And that, my friends, is the end of the beginning. Did you think I wouldn't make videos about Tangled the series? Did you think I would only review one Tangled book? Did you not doubt that I would never fail to leave no stone unturned? No. Yes? Maybe. But that is not all. I have only begun to make videos about Tangled. There will be more. Later. Well, I didn't mean right now. I'm busy enough with other videos I need to make. I need to make a Peter Pan Return to Neverland video, decide whether or not to keep making Superman Lois videos because the views have not been justifying it as of late, and I need to write the script about the romance in another Disney princess movie. Now here's the thing, for the most part, I've been reviewing the Disney princess romances with scripted videos in order of their release. So there was my Beauty and the Beast couple review, my Aladdin and Jasmine couple review. For Pocahontas, I did an unscripted video while watching the film, but that was still in order. I decided to cover Tangled early, even though I hadn't covered Mulan or Princess and the Frog, which came before Tangled. You might be expecting me to cover Mulan next, because it released long before Princess and the Frog, but I've just been seeing more interest in the Princess and the Frog, so that's going to be my next scripted Disney Princess couple review. And then I'll cover Mulan sometime after that. I know it's completely backwards to do Tangled, then Princess and the Frog, then Mulan, since that's the exact reverse of their order, but it makes sense when you consider things. In terms of other Disney Princess videos I'll be making, I'm not sure when I'm going to do this, but I want to remake my couple reviews of Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, The Little Mermaid, and maybe Beauty and the Beast. I don't like my line delivery in those videos, and besides that, some of them are kind of short. I'm not sure if I want to redo my Beauty and the Beast video because it's long enough, and my line delivery is not as bad as my videos of old. My Aladdin and Jasmine video is almost perfect, so I don't think I'll redo that, at least not for a long time. But the earlier Disney Princess videos must be redone. In fact, I put my Snow White video into a playlist called These Videos Are Bad, so I unlisted them. I unlisted those videos because I don't want them giving new viewers bad first impressions. But I have that playlist on my channel so people can see my earlier videos, if they're curious. So you can still watch those videos, but in order to do that, you'll have to understand that they aren't a reflection of my current quality. I also put my Spider-Man videos into that playlist, and at some points I'll probably remake those too. As I implied earlier, I do not like my Bravely video, apart from the why I relate to Disney princesses even though I'm a man segment. Now that I've put that segment in this video, I think I'll unlist that one too. Long story short, it's a young adults book that's a sequel to Pixar's Brave, and it's good. There's not enough action, but that's good. I don't know about the timing of my Snow White, Cinderella, and Sleeping Beauty retries, but I want to make sure to redo Ariel and Eric in the animated Little Mermaid before the live-action Little Mermaid releases. I have more Disney Princess books to review, and I haven't even started on the terrible live-action remakes yet. I don't know when I'll be making videos about it, but Maleficent is, no joke, my least favorite film of all time. There will be yelling. I'm not committing to this yet, but I might make videos about Maleficent that are the anti-Rapunzel and Flynn / Eugene, where instead of gushing about how much I love each fourth of Tangled, I'll be ranting about how much I hate every fourth of Maleficent. Not all of my Disney Princess couple reviews are going to get these multi-part series. I might split Princess and the Frog into 2 videos, but not 4. Mulan will probably be just 1 part. When I get to them, I might do 4-part series on Frozen and Encanto, because to me, Tangled, Frozen, and Encanto are the big 3. Before we go, I must tell you where Rapunzel and Eugene ranks among the Disney Princess romances. Obviously, this is the best. I see the ancient list of Disney Princess romance rankings. So far we have Snow White and her prince, Cinderella and Prince Charming, Philip and Aurora, Belle and the Beasts, The Romance in Encanto, Ariel and Eric, Merida and Fairydatch, and then the best is Rapunzel and Flynn / Eugene. Rapunzel and Flynn are the perfect sweet spots of Disney princess romances. They were written with modern standards and a ton of time put into their relationship, unlike the old ways. But after Tangled, Disney princess films started putting less focus on romance. Some of the new Disney princesses don't even have love interests. So not only are Rapunzel and Eugene the best Disney princess couple, they are as good as it's going to get for a while. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, gleam, and glow.